In this video, we will see the exit, break, and continue statements. The first statement we will see is the exit statement. The exit statement, or let me put something here before exit. The exit statement will exit the script and finish the execution. So for example, if I do this after exit, and if I run the script, then only the before exit statement has been executed. After we exit the program will finish and nothing else will be executed. Of course, using exit here doesn't make very much sense. You usually we will put exit inside a conditional so you will exit the program only in certain only sometimes, okay, if some conditions meet, if some conditions met. So another important thing of exit is that you can return a value. So for example, I can exit with a value, and then, okay, the behavior is more or less the same, but I can check the return value of a script using a special cell variable. Is that variable? Okay, the interrogant variable contains the last exit value of a script or a command. So here I can see the 99 is the value that I exited in a program. So we can use that, for example, for exiting the program with an error message or something. If we don't put anything here, okay, it will be a 0. It's like the script has finished without errors. And something important here is that, let me return here to the 99. If I run the scripts, I can see the output value, but if I run the command again, okay, it's a 0, because in this case, this is giving me the exit value, the return value of the previous command. In this case, this is the result of the echo, and this is the result of the break command. Okay, this is the exit. We can use that for returning an error or finishing execution early, usually with a conditional statement. The continue and break statements are meant to be used inside loops. So for example, if I have a for loop for e in a range, for example, counter, I have this, for example, counter 1 to 10, but at any point I can use continue and after continue. When I use this statement, the execution of the block will stop and it will return to the start of the loop. So in this case, for each loop, only the first sentence will be executed, because when the for finds the continue, it will return. It will go to the next iteration. So here, if I do that, we see the counter, but if I remove the continue, then I can see that it do it. Okay, so continue is used for skipping the execution of a block, and it's also used with conditional statements. This works in for loops and in while loops. We will see it later in infinite loops, in while loops, but here it works the same in both cases. The break statement will stop the execution of the for. So in this case, when we are in a loop and we find a break, we will go to the end of the loop. So no more loops will run, and the rest of the sentences won't run either. So here, if I put a break, then I can see that once I run this once, I can find the break, and then I go after the loop. I can use a conditional. So for example, if uh, E is greater than 4, then break T. Okay, this is an if in one line using semicolons. So the break will only execute when will only run when I is greater than 4. So in this case, take a moment to think what it will output in the screen. Okay, this is the first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth iteration, the fifth iteration. When we arrive here, I break the flow, and this echo is not, it doesn't run. Okay, this is the break. Continue is for starting again, going to the next iteration of the loop, and break is to finish the execution of the loop completely. We can use these statements in infinite loops, for example. In cell programming, we can have infinite loops in using while. Infinite loop, and let me put a sleep here. This stop the execution of the script for 1 second, and I can use while true. While true, this condition is always true, of course, and then if I run the script, infinite loop, at it won't end. Okay, this while true, this true can be replaced by this, by a colon, and then it will be the same. Okay, this is always true, so this will run until I exit manually the loop. So in this case, I could use a break, for example, using a counter. Counter equals 1, is 1, increase the counter, and then if counter greater than 2, then break. Okay, so in this case we are exiting manually the loop here. For example, I run this, I have an error here. This is the space after the 2. Okay. Infinite loop, but only 2 times, because here the first iteration is 2, the second iteration is 3, and then I break and finish the while execution. And for continue, for example, we could use a for. Let's use the CS style, for example. E.0, E less than 10, for example. E++, 2, done, echo $i, okay, that's for testing. And then, but I can, for example, skip the odd numbers. So for example, if I can use this mod equals $i mod 2 echo mod, okay, just for testing. I think this is not needed here. Okay, something is happening. And yeah, I need the $sign here. Here, this is the mod, okay, just for testing. 0 mod 2 is 0, 1 mod 2 is 2, 2 mod, okay, for odd numbers, this is the mod operation. Odd numbers, this is we will have 1 left. 3 divided by 2, we have 1 left. 5, 4 divided by 2, we have 0 left. Okay, so we can check here if, okay, for example, I can use if mod equals 0, then skip that numbers. And of course, I must do this before the echo, because if not, it will be printed anyway. So if I do that, okay, the odd numbers are skipped, because when a number is odd, it will enter here, and then it will return to the 4 and run the next iteration. So those are the exit for completely exiting the program, break for exiting the loop, and continue for exiting this iteration and go to the next iteration of loops.